Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back. Thank you so much for clicking on the video. Today we are breaking down 3 S-tier armor regen solo builds for Title Update 20, which includes the best gear pieces, weapons, specializations, and playstyle for each setup. These builds trade DPS for high survivability, and with the right strategy, you'll be able to run through endgame content and feel nearly invincible in the process. Armor regeneration is an incredible perk to have in combat, but be aware, in higher difficulties, NPCs can be very deadly, which means your movement and positioning is going to be key for survival. Rest assured, my goal is to provide you with 3 separate armor regen builds, all of which are capable of high damage and exceptional survivability, just like Weapon X himself. This first armor regen build is built around speed and aggression. The faster you kill enemies, the quicker your armor will regenerate, and this is thanks to the perfect preservation talent on the named Emeline's Guard SMG. With this talent, killing an enemy repairs 15% armor over 5 seconds. Headshot kills improve the repair by an additional 15%, allowing you to repair 30% armor within 5 seconds. This, combined with 100k armor regen, a tier 2 defender drone, a shield, and an additional 35% protection from elites will make you feel unstoppable. Aside from the amazing survivability, this build was also crafted to provide high damage as well. I challenged myself to create armor regen builds that provide damage and survivability instead of just being a tank for no reason. Thanks to the 3 red cores on this build, high crit chance, and the obliterate talent, which increases your weapon damage by 1% every time you crit, stacking up to 25 times, you are going to feel extremely lethal in combat. This build uses the Ninja Bike backpack to unlock additional brand set bonuses to help you achieve high armor regen and damage simultaneously. For the best possible performance with this build, it's important to play off of your skills. With the Defender drone active, you're looking at nearly 60% damage reduction from elites. This means headshots and enemy kills in general will be much easier, allowing you to regen armor faster and kill all enemies with ease. For my specialization, I'm using Technician so I can gain an extra skill tier and deal more damage to drones and robotics. That extra skill tier plays a huge role for increasing the damage reduction on your Defender drone. It will also help you reach skill tier 6 with your shield even at 1.6 million armor. My primary weapon on this build is the named Emeline's Guard SMG Expertise 14 with the perfect preservation talent. Killing an enemy repairs 15% armor over 5 seconds. Headshot kills improve the repair by an additional 15%, allowing you to repair 30% armor within 5 seconds. With this build, you're really trying your best to chain headshot kills so you can continuously regenerate armor at a very fast pace. This extra regen is nice since the build is at 1.6, but if you want a faster RPM and way more damage, you can always use the exotic Ouroboros SMG. For my secondary, I have the exotic Scorpio shotgun so I can stack status effects on named or armored enemies. This weapon is great because it immobilizes your targets, it stacks poison, disorient, and shock to them, and eventually amplifies the damage they take from all sources. My first piece of gear, the named Chill Out Mask. Currently on this build, I have 3 pieces of Guard, providing 5% total armor, 60% health, and 2% armor regeneration to my agent. On this build, at 1.6 million armor, I have over 100k armor regeneration, and this is thanks to the brand set bonuses. The Chill Out Mask is unique because it comes with 2 mod slots. I took this opportunity to stack crit damage, crit chance, and I added a 12% protection from elites mod. For the chest piece, my first piece of golden gear on the build, which provides 10% status effects and 1.5% armor regen for the 2-piece bonus. I have max armor, armor regen, crit damage, and 11% protection from elites with the obliterate talent, which increases your weapon damage by 1% every time you crit, stacking up to 25 times. Since your crit damage will be relatively low on this build, it's important to get your crit chance as close to 60% as possible so you can benefit from obliterate more often. Next, Bellstone Armory Holster, which provides 1% armor regen and 10% armor on kill, thanks to the Ninja Bike backpack. I have max armor, armor regen, and crit hit damage. For the backpack, the exotic Ninja Bike. This exotic comes equipped with all 3 core attributes and has the resourceful talent, which lets you unlock an additional brand set bonus for every piece of gear on your build. After that, Heliguard gloves with weapon damage, armor regen, and crit chance. And lastly, Emperor's Guard knee pads, which roll exclusively with 1% armor regen. The 20% skill duration is great for the defender drone, and if you wanted to add some extra burst healing, you could use the healing chem launcher and benefit from the 30% repair skills with the Murakami set. For the skills, I have an Expertise 17 defender drone, which provides 37% damage reduction, or 43% damage reduction with the TDI card pistol out, which provides an extra skill tier just as long as you have it equipped. And for the second skill, I have a tier 6 shield thanks to the skill tiers and the armor cores on the build. Really great for survivability, and it will help you regen armor easier if you get too low. This next build combines the best armor regen brand sets with one of the best in slot exotic backpacks to create a setup that provides nearly 120k armor regen, tons of bonus armor stacks, weapon damage, and skill efficiency buffs, as well as extra amplified damage when fighting within 10 meters. The backbone of this build is the exotic Memento backpack. Thanks to the kill confirmed talent, you'll be able to stack short-term and long-term buffs for your agent, which provide extra weapon damage, bonus armor, and skill efficiency. In addition to that, after collecting 30 trophies, you'll add 30% weapon damage to your SMG, 30% skill efficiency to your defender drone and booster hive, and an extra 3% armor regeneration to your build. To make the most out of the bonus armor stacks, I added the Intimidate talent to the build, which pairs nicely with the exotic Ouroboros SMG. With this combination, you're looking at 36% amplified damage and nearly 1500 RPM, making it very easy to shred through enemy health bars. Just like the previous build, the Defender Drone and Protection from Elites mods play an important role for keeping your agent alive. Luckily, you can increase the efficiency of your Defender Drone even further thanks to Kill Confirmed. Each trophy you collect will increase the duration, health, and skill haste for your drone. Every component of this build comes together to create a build that rewards aggressive gameplay and constant movement, all of which provides massive survivability for your agent and tons of amplified damage. For my specialization, I'm using Technician, so I can gain an extra skill tier and deal more damage to drones and robotics. That extra skill tier plays a huge role for increasing the damage reduction on the Defender drone and the overall efficiency of the booster hive. Primary weapon on this build is the powerful exotic Ouroboros SMG, easily one of the best weapons in the entire game. With nearly 1500 RPM, 50 rounds in the magazine, and the Rule Them All talent, which lets you apply status effects back to targets that inflicted you in the first place, you're looking at the best SMG for this build. For the secondary, I have the Emeline's Guard whenever I need quicker bursts of armor regen. That perfect preservation talent repairs 15% armor on kill over 5 seconds, and when you land headshot kills, it improves the repair by an additional 15%, allowing you to stack 30% armor repair within 5 seconds. First piece of gear, the named Chill Out Heliguard mask. Currently on this build, I have 3 pieces of Heliguard, providing 5% total armor, 60% health, and 2% armor regen. On this mask, I have max armor, crit chance, crit damage, and a 12% protection from elites mod. For the chest piece, Sokolov Concern, which adds 10% damage to your SMG. I have max armor, crit chance, and crit damage, a 12% protection from elites mod, and the Intimidate talent, which lets you gain 3 stacks each second up to 9, with each stack increasing your weapon damage by 4% to all enemies within 10 meters when you have bonus armor. Next, Bellstone Holster, which adds 1% armor regen. I have max armor, armor regen, and crit hit damage. After that, the Memento Exotic Backpack, which comes equipped with all 3 core attributes and unlocks the Kill Confirmed talent, letting you stack more weapon damage, bonus armor, skill efficiency, and 3% extra armor regeneration when you collect 30 trophies. I also added a 13% protection from elites mod to the backpack. After that, Heliguard gloves with max weapon damage, armor regen, and crit chance, and lastly, Heliguard knee pads with max armor, armor regen, and crit chance. On this build, I have 66k base armor regen before any trophies are collected, and once you reach max stacks, you're looking at well over 115k armor regeneration. For the skills, I have an Expertise 17 Defender Drone, which provides 37% damage reduction, up to 43% if you have the TDI card pistol out, and for the second skill, I'm using the Booster Hive to cleanse me from status effects and boost my overall weapon handling. This last armor regen build is a powerhouse when it comes to damage and survivability. Personally, this armor regen build is my favorite of the 3. For starters, you have 3 red cores in the build, nearly 70k base armor regen, and the obliterate talent, which will make you feel very lethal within all ranges. To take the build to the next level, I added the exotic memento backpack, which drastically increases the overall efficiency on the build. With 4 armor cores and 3 weapon damage cores, you'll be stacking 40% bonus armor and 15% weapon damage with each trophy you collect. After collecting 30 trophies, you'll add a constant 30% extra weapon damage to your Saint Elmos and an extra 3% armor regen, giving you a total of 6.5% armor regeneration on the build. Now, apart from the Saint Elmos, I really enjoy using the Black Market AKM with Strained on this build. Lower RPM, but way higher damage. These type of low RPM weapons perform exceptionally well with talents like Strain because you can utilize the crit damage buffs for a longer period of time. It's also an incredibly satisfying weapon to use thanks to the sound and power. To reach the full potential of this build, you should be prioritizing kill confirmed trophies so you can reach max stacks as soon as possible. This will ensure your weapon damage on your Saint Elmos and AKM is the highest it can be. You'll be more prepared when fighting groups of enemies thanks to the 6.5% armor regen, and you'll maintain the ability to constantly buff your weapon damage, skill efficiency, and stack bonus armor with each trophy you collect. This is easily one of the best and most versatile armor regen builds in the Division 2. For the specialization on this build, I'm using Gunner. It adds 10% armor on kill, every 3rd reload is faster, and you can use the Banshee Pulse skill. Primary weapon, Expertise 18 Saint Elmo's Engine Exotic Assault Rifle. Probably the best exotic AR in the game. 850 RPM, 70 rounds in the magazine, high crit chance and crit damage mods with the Actum S talent, which fills your weapon with shock ammo at 100 stacks. For my secondary, one of my favorite ARs this patch, an Expertise 15 Black Market AKM with the Strained talent. Gain 10% crit hit damage for every 0.5 seconds you are firing, stacking up to 5 times. Very powerful talent for low RPM weapons like this one. Currently on my Saint Elmos, I have 54 crit hit chance and 125% crit hit damage. For my mask, my first piece of golden gear out of 2, which provides 10% status effects and 1.5% armor regen to the build. I have max armor, crit hit damage, armor regen, and a max crit chance mod. Next, Fenris Group AB chest piece, which provides 10% extra damage to your assault rifles, max weapon damage, crit chance, crit damage, a max crit chance mod with the obliterate talent, which increases your weapon damage by 1% every time you crit, stacking up to 25 times. Next, Bellstone holster, which adds 1% armor regen. I have max armor, armor regen, and crit hit damage. After that, Memento exotic backpack, which comes equipped with all 3 core attributes, adding weapon damage, armor, and a skill tier to your build, and unlocks the kill confirmed talent, letting you stack 30% weapon damage, bonus armor stacks, skill efficiency, and even 3% extra armor regen when you collect 30 trophies. I also added a 12% crit hit damage mod. For the gloves, second piece of golden gear with max armor, armor regen, and crit chance. And lastly, Emperor's Guard knee pads with max weapon damage, 1% armor regen, and 11.3% crit hit damage. For my skills, Expertise 17 Defender Drone, which provides 30% damage reduction from enemies, and a tier 5 shield for an extra layer of survivability to the build. Thank you all so much for clicking on today's video and sticking around until the end. I've already made a handful of these top 3 videos on my channel, so I highly recommend checking those out whenever you got some time. If you missed my last video, I went over the top 3 best solo DPS builds in the Division 2. I'll put a link at the top of the screen right now if you want to check it out. Now, if you enjoyed this video, a thumbs up would be greatly appreciated. It helps the channel grow, and it will recommend the video to more people. If you want to see more videos just like this one coming soon, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on those bell notifications so you are notified every time I drop a new video.